up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, we are the Tums for your upset musical stomach. This is State of the Game.
Shout out Thompson, let me get sponsorship.
Yep, we're settling it. We're gonna get the sponsorship. Tums and Popeyes are the only ones I will allow. So
I fuck with both.
my name is Dano. I'm the host. I upset stomach wise. Here's my problem, right? I grew up shitty neighborhood Milltown kid eating shitty stuff from the local places, right? Tuna sandwich made by an old man who didn't believe in immigration, right? That kind of thing. So, and I came up, you know what I mean? I'm eating better now, all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eating good, baby.
Exactly. And so now, but I get whimsy. I get like, I want to go back to the neighborhood spot. I go back to the neighborhood spot. I'm in the bathroom rest of the night. Like, damn.
Yeah,
I got to put away old things. You know what I mean? I got to put away old things. That's
it
my
served you
intro.
at the time, but it no longer serves you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Moving on.
that's my intro. My co-host is a much simpler intro. If the Luther Vandross song "Any Love" was a person, that's my co-host Kate.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
perfect. I concur.
Thank you for being here. Um,
You look comfy too, Kay.
he's
Yeah, I
comfy.
got the blanket on. It's
Comfy.
a little bit cold, so I just
Got a few of
trying to
these
get warm.
robes and shit.
Getting
Like,
that you're getting that breeze off the water.
Well, somewhat, yeah.
What is
Oh,
that?
you mean my
What-
background? No.
Yeah.
Where is that? What's your background?
That's Newport. I took it
Rhode
at Newport,
Island?
Rhode Island, yeah.
Oh, no shit.
all right, baby.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I knew it looked familiar.
Yep.
Our
Very
guests
nice.
today are a super group, a powerful combination
Ah.
of Philly and Rhode Island. We one of the things we've talked to them before, individually together. One of the beautiful things about doing this, Kay, is watching growth, watching people charting growth, and I think that's what's so exciting about talking to our guests today, Jesse the Tree and Andrew. Um, I hadn't I hadn't thought about Rhode Island in years before I met Jesse the Tree. So thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad to remind you, Dan.
But some of that was
Mighty.
some of that was scar tissue. Like I had a friend, a very close friend from Rhode Island in the army, but he was fucked up, right?
Oh shit.
Off white because he was like all his clothes were white, but they were dirty, so they weren't really quite white.
It sounds like mine.
And he was like, he would always tell really off-putting stories, like putting glass in people's cocaine because they betrayed him, and he was thinking heavy into gang shit. And so when it came back, I met up with him once, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna hang out." I'm like, we'll see, we'll see."
He's like, we're gonna do some coke together.
I don't know. But he was a good dude, weird dude. But yeah, so I will but there's Rhode Island is not just that person. So thank you, bursting that bubble.
Jesse is also there.
Yeah.
Jesse's also there. It's true.
I won't do you like that.
No glass in the cocaine. So Dogstoevsky just dropped, and sometimes we ask people, "Oh, how's the reaction?" The thing for me that was exciting about Dogstoevsky is the anticipation. Like when y'all posted that this was coming, the excitement from everybody was palpable.
Yeah.
It definitely seemed like it had a really good build, which was awesome. That was honestly that is just we're gonna have to give Zilla the shout for that one.
Oh yeah.
He was like, we gotta properly roll this out, no 1 month before or a couple weeks. He's
Day
like,
of.
day of, like no announcement at all, like not fade away. Literally was like, here it is. But yeah, he knew that this album was special and that we needed to actually do it properly. So, we made a plan and we just tried to execute it the best we could with, pretty much a single a month content around that, just, little videos and whatnot, just to kind of, remind people that it's there to get ready for the next single. And so, yeah, we definitely took the rollout on this one a lot more seriously. But I think the music kind of reflects that too, like not like the others aren't. I love both other records, but I think we found something on this one, and we wanted to make sure we were getting people, aware well before it came.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so major credit to Zilla because I think Drew and I are both, victims of getting way in our own head with shit. Getting, Drew especially, but both of us really are always trying to work on something. And we have the tendency to feel like things could get stale and everything. So we kind of needed that outside perspective to with Zilla to be like, no, this is dope. This is dope. And he's not a bullshitter either. So when he says something, we could believe him.
We needed
And
him to ground us for it, to be honest.
yeah, because we wouldn't have done all that. We would have just kind of maybe
Yeah,
one single and dropped it, but it
yeah.
was a lot more fun to do it this way.
Two things like on the Zilla front, which I think is really interesting. First, Zilla is definitely consumed with the notion of like which albums do you let just rock and like drop, and which albums get a real full rollout, which I think is cool, and I think more people need to think about that.
Mm,
Because some projects are cool surprise projects that you can drop out of nowhere and it's fun. Some albums deserve a proper rollout and explanation, and I think I
mm.
like that he thinks about that a lot.
Mhm.
Um, the
Yeah.
second thing is, I think Andrew's process drives Zilla nuts a little bit.
100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think because Zilla's kind of like, damn it, we should have given that a full like he loves Andrew's work so much.
Yeah, we had
And
that
so
exact conversation. Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely
yeah.
drive him crazy. I know. Not my fault.
I he drives Zilla crazy and I drive Andrew crazy. So it's a well-oiled machine for
And we all could
completely
have done
different
it any
reasons.
day.
Yeah, but it works. It's a strange method, but it really does work.
We all have our places.
Mhm.
well, and you all know you all obviously respect and value each other's insight and have different ways of doing this stuff. And so it's great to have that, you know, where you don't have just a bunch of yes people around
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
What do you say? What would you say are some of the benefits to this approach, album rollout approach that you've seen so far?
I mean, like Dan said, just kind of like the anticipation of the album, and I think it's just when you take more time with it and you're really promoting every single like hard for, a month or at least a couple weeks and you're really like pushing that, I feel like, you know, just the awareness just spreads so much more and then kind
Mhm.
of just lets people know that the album's coming versus, just one single and just not, I think we both um struggle with promotion in the way where like feeling annoying, like feeling like,
Mm,
cool, I'm just saying the same shit over and over again. Like I don't feel, I don't want to do that. But kind of like I I feel like we just kind of surrendered to the process this time and just said, okay, this is what it
mhm,
takes to like widen the awareness and widen the range because we really have seen a lot more new fans coming in with this record, honestly, and I think that is majorly to do with this rollout. Um,
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, people are getting hip to it and people are getting aware, but with this campaign we did, I feel like it like really kind of like took over that that little space we occupy in this like little corner of underground hip hop that we have here, I feel like it really kind of was like a blanket on top of everyone that you kind of couldn't escape, and it was just kind of spreading. So I think I think really it was a huge benefit to do it this way because of just, just reaching more people this way.
Surrender to the process, like Drew said. That was it.
It
That
it
works
is
for us.
the notion of being annoying is a real thing. Like,
Hmm.
and I struggle with it every day because I'm supposed to be promoting lots of stuff, right? Episodes and stuff. I'm like, in a way, I'm doing a disservice if I don't. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But sometimes I just want to chill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And sometimes the
absolutely.
environment socially is so toxic, you don't want to be posting anywhere near any of this stuff, you know?
Exactly. That like that the burden of being perceived constantly. There's it's at least for me, like my social media intake and engagement is very much attached to how I'm feeling that day. So I'm like, I'm not really trying to talk too much online if I'm having a busy day or a long day or if I'm not feeling it. Um, what really saved me, and I'm sure Drew agrees too, is like that collaboration posting thing on IG.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Zilla
Oh,
would post like opening the cassettes and whatever, and it would go on my page, it would go on Drew's page, so he could kind of take the lead with some of this stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah,
you
that's awesome.
know,
yeah, it definitely helps that with the collaboration thing because then, you're making one piece of content and then then you're seeing it from three different things, which is honestly what you need. You need you need content and honestly I with the annoying thing and just with like posting a lot of content, I always struggle with that. But then that's why we were trying to do a lot of different like little videos and just like I was like setting stuff to like Snoopy and Peanuts things and just
Yep, yep.
making different stuff. So at least if I have to post this all the time, I'm not just posting the same thing again and again and again. So I was really trying to like, you know, just immerse myself in it and really like say like fuck it, like I'm gonna trust this process that we have to do, and I'm gonna go all the way on it, and I'm gonna make the videos and make the stuff and post it and just do my best to if we're gonna do if this the way we're gonna do this one, then like let's fully do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And so the pre-order versus the surprise drop, okay, is interesting because I was like, if a surprise drop obviously is can make an amazing impact, right? Uh, People don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden it creates a buzz. But if you don't have the audience size you thought you did, it's a little like saying I love you to someone who doesn't love you.
Yeah.
It's
And it could be really
yeah,
that could be like a big could be like a like a real kick you while you're down type of feeling.
it can be quite humiliating. The surprise
Yeah.
drop that doesn't go anywhere. So the
yeah.
the pre-order gives you a good ability to kind of gauge the size of your audience.
Hmm. Big time.
And you're
Like,
like, oh wow, there's buzz now. Like there's
Yeah.
buzz connected to this thing that hasn't even dropped.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that
you're
makes you
right
feel
though.
better about posting more. You're like, okay, people are actually into this. We can post a little more. We can believe in it. We can give ourselves more belief in it as we see other people believing in it. And like you said, Dan, it's like you get to a point where you're doing yourself a disservice if you shy away from it,
Yeah,
and you don't give it the full engagement that it deserves.
yeah,
And I
that's what
think
I was trying to remember this time around.
yeah,
Mhm.
and just reminding yourself like you wrote all this, you recorded this, you put a lot into this, so don't treat it like it was like this little pet project that just, oh, it all
Right.
came together. I guess we'll put it out. Like that wasn't the process, so let's try to reflect the work we put in, you know what I mean, with how we
There's lots of artists who work a lot and work ahead, right?
Mhm.
And so they're already done with the next project when they're talking to you about this project. But saying that a bunch isn't the best way to sell the current project.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Rolling up in the air and be like, I don't even remember this one, man. I'm on to the
Yeah.
next one. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, thanks. That's awesome.
I think Drew and I probably used to both do that probably when we were younger. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is just, this is just that. But, with this album, there's several songs on this album that we wrote right after we finished Faking My Own Death.
Yep, yep.
There's stuff we wrote real recently and then stuff we wrote almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, so it was just stuff that we didn't give up on, and we, we had to get proud of it and believe in it. But I think in the past we might have been like, we wrote that a couple years ago. It's not good now. But like Lemonade Spliff is an old song for us.
Oh wow.
And we were like kind of thinking about not putting it on, and then we were both just like, it has that feeling, we should keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was interesting. This was a lot of years in the making, even though it seems like we just kind of throw shit around.
Yeah. It's definitely like from a lot of different points in time, but still is a feels very cohesive because I feel like what we do together just sounds like this one big project, honestly. Obviously there's growth there and there's like different things going on and changes, but I feel like we have such a specific thing we do that it still just comes together cohesively, which is nice.
That's awesome. And so growth is a big thing for me uh, with Sleeping Dogs because I just want everyone to be aware of the difference of like a one-off collab album
Mm.
versus a group,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
A one-off collab album can be great, but it can be awkward. It's a bit of a one-night stand,
Hmm.
right? Like you're smashing your powers together and we'll see how it works, right?
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes it only works for one song out of the album where you're like, oh, they actually did that.
Yeah.
But what you guys have done is become a group. Uh, and I have taken notice of things that I think you've learned from each other. But this all could be in my mind that I made up.
You're a
Let's
So
smart
hear them.
guy. I trust.
Yeah,
I
I bet
wanted
they're
to
pretty accurate.
I wanted to kick my theory here.
Yeah.
I want to kick those theories and see how it works. See if I've grounded in reality. But so the start on the Jesse end, right? Because I remember talking to you about some of your best verses on Faking My Own Death. I remember you zoning in on like, yeah, all that shit I said was crazy. It was cool. But man, Drew came right in and he had this crazy punchline, and that's the most memorable part of the song,
Hmm.
right? There's
Yeah.
there's a sense that you guys are kind of from different schools, right? Like when I first was listening to old Jesse the Tree, I was like, oh, this is the high level of this kind of New England underground. You have your whole album to tell the story, right?
Hmm.
Music. Whereas being from Philly, Drew's trying to kill the song in 15 to 20 seconds.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
want you to remember me and only me in the first 20 seconds, right? Like there is no New England Reef the Lost Cause, right? That's not our energy.
Yeah.
So it's just different, right? So you were running into these things. You had these beautiful images, it's very literary, but Andrew had such high impact punchline stuff
Yeah.
that you were like, I need to be able to figure out how to compact this and hit harder in the compact
Yes.
nature. So that's
Hmm.
that's my thought on where you were evolving. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? Is there anything there?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think I think you're right. Like a lot of my verses end up being kind of literary and feel like a little prosy at times. But then yeah, I'll hear something from Drew and it'll just be that one line and it'll really stick with me. There's so many on this album. I'll just like text Drew, and it doesn't have to be like that mind-blowing punchline. It's just something that I'm like, oh man, Drew's just got a way that he writes that's unlike anyone else. Um,
Mhm.
so definitely, and I think in our back and forth songs where we have a couple on this album,
Yeah.
and Drew, like
Yeah.
Drew and Nina, Drew will say, pasta dinner every Sunday night, carry on tradition, like my grandma's still here, and the making gravy under kitchen lights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, just bounces and it's boom. Like
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
it's so simple but so
Perfect.
powerful and perfect to me. So
Yep.
when I get my four, I'm like, all right, I gotta have at least a couple of those bars where, boom, right in your face, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like, whoa, crazy ass line reference, just
Right.
that same feeling, conviction more so.
The Drew example on this for me of that is just you're on some funny shit. My car is a money pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that just lives in my head. That's just something that everybody can feel, everybody understands. It's just really memorable
And it's
from
so
that
Philly.
lore. Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
so having being able and they're like I said, I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with you being literary. I love that
Yeah.
strength. I think that has helped your process and Drew's process and everyone around you. But as an artist, you're trying to add gears, right, to
Mm-hmm.
what you can do. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you isolated that and was like, "Oh, that's my next gear is like the simple line that lives in your heart." Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's adding to your game, right? Like if you're looking at basketball, you're playing with a guy and he's got this certain move and maybe you've been doing it a certain way and you feel real good about that. But you're like, maybe if I start watching how he does it, add that to my game once in a while. And if we both have that on our game, um, it's always worth it to see if you can sharpen.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's like you're more of a threat together because you are now expanding on what you both can do.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I for Drew, it's a little more gray area. Um, so, but it's so. I think before you were you were always a track shredder, right? And you would have these songs that were very personal and very meaningful to you, right? But
Mhm.
you did a few gold coins to get there. I love gold coins so much. Weight of the World, buy it. It's
Yeah.
great. So, so you would do like five like Andrew bangers, and then this one's personal. And I think you I now you leave your heart everywhere on every song. You leave a piece of yourself on every
Mhm.
song because and this isn't like Jesse's so heartfelt it made me heartfelt. That it's and because I have this Andrew where I'm weird as fuck, right? And everybody knows so I'm people when they get around me they're comfortable being as weird as they want. They say weird shit they don't tell other people because they feel
Yeah.
comfortable. I think it's like that with Jesse in the heartfelt emotional range, right? You probably feel a little more comfortable leaving that on that track because he's already done it on his side. So I think you leave a piece of your heart on every song now, which makes you a lot more powerful.
Yeah, no, I definitely I feel like once I started working with Jesse, I definitely instead of being like this song is this and this is this, I think we both kind of like because I think he would do it more where it was kind of like more where every song has everything. It's not like it has to
Yep.
be this thing. I feel like he was definitely doing that more, and it kind of made me feel like, oh, that's like I don't have to just do this. This doesn't have to be a song. Like exactly, like every piece of me can be on every verse, versus where like it doesn't have to just be all fucking like punchlines and all that. I can add in that like dark humor shit that I have on other things, like all on one verse. So I definitely started doing that more once we started working together. For sure, that's a definite.
Mm.
Yeah, good observations, Dan.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
yeah, I was thinking about it. I just think that is the shift. And I'm faking my own death is it's always going to be number one for me just because and some of it is C Money Burns, man. It's the
Mm,
vision that C Money Burns had on how that album should sound. It there was just nothing like it. Um, and so that album was really important to me. Um, but when you released Will We Ever Dance Again, that has some of the best Sleeping Dog songs, right?
mm,
Stoop Kid, Archipelago, Ravi Shankar, just some of the biggest, coolest, Lilac Tomb. Um, it was it was great. I just felt like Dogstoevsky kind of has the best elements from both.
Yeah.
mm, hmm.
It's a Death Fame situation where you're like, oh, everything, oh, all these skills come together here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I think maybe part of that's just naturally because some of those we were writing during both of those periods. There was definitely a shift from Faking My Own Death to Will We Ever Dance Again, and some of that just was in between both of those. But we wanted to. I think that was the aim. Um, but there's that we were some of those songs like Anina and what other ones are very Faking My Own Death. Like even Peace of Mind feels like that too.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, that kind of like real fun. Will We Ever Dance Again was definitely like admittedly felt a lot more emotional in some ways.
Yeah, the whole
And darker, heavier. You know what I mean? Like Archipelago is probably my favorite song on that project. And it's a heavy one. It's a damp one. You know what I mean?
My
And
first reaction to Will We Ever Dance Again is, oh shit, they're pissed.
yeah,
They're
I think
pissed that
that's kind of
everybody
fair. Yeah.
they're pissed that everybody thinks they're adorable, and Andrew's going nuts. Like Andrew
Hmm.
is ripping these tracks,
Yeah.
specifically. So I don't know, yeah, but it definitely felt there was a De La Soul is Dead energy to it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it
think
was
that's accurate.
definitely had a darker, like more, yeah. Like when that album comes in my head, it's like just like a darker image for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think like this album, you're right though. It's kind of like it is the best of both. But it just feels so much like and same like I love both the records and I'm super proud of them both. Like there's nothing I'd do different. But this third album just feels like way more realized. It just feels kind of like we that they were just like the first two were the journey and this and then we finally ended up there with Dogstoevsky.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Kay, how did you feel about the progression through the albums?
Um, well, I mean, I listened primarily to Dogstoevsky
Okay.
for this session, but through I found now that listening to the conversation, I do see certain elements of because I do remember what's the last project? The
Dance again. Will we ever dance again? Yeah.
Dance Again, and then what was that before that?
Faking my own death.
Faking My
Yeah.
Own Death. Yes, I do see certain elements. Faking My Own Death. I do see certain elements of that in this project.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
definitely.
Big time.
So now that you guys have had the conversation, now I'm starting like it makes sense because there's like different elements. Like I saw a lot of different elements in this particular project.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to the listening party. Who called it yacht rap?
Was that
C4X?
yeah,
P4X, I think.
Forex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out C4X, man. He's such a sweetie.
that's awesome.
Like it's like, it's on Twitter, like he's so funny. He'll just be like, "Man, this Sleeping Dogs is breaking my fucking heart." Doctor like 20 ellipses. God, they do it. He's just like he's
Yeah,
like your dream supporter, you know what I mean?
that's
And he's
awesome.
so like so open about his feelings about our music and he's just been there the whole time and isn't afraid to like show us a genuine
Yeah,
love.
he definitely if he really likes something, he's like fucking letting the world know, which is
Yeah.
because honestly, like so much in hip hop that I think it's definitely I think it's changed a bit, but there's still that element of like some people are too cool to, show that they like something or support something. I
Yeah.
mean that's just I mean that's it with everything though. I mean it's just humans, but yeah, so it's nice when you have people that are like, I don't give a fuck, I love this album, and I'm screaming from the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. And
that's
it's
good.
and it seems like it connects with him and, there's several people. I'd say it's like there's a strong handful of people that are like it really pierces them, and
Yep.
that's like kind of like, oh, okay, because that's what we're going for. We want it. We want to bring you to your fucking knees and fuck your head up and make you feel everything and have it be like this almost cinematic drama, crazy thing going on and seeing who's kind of attaching to it and feeling it and seeing us, what I mean, hearing these songs and seeing me and Drew in them. Um, so it's nice when people get as dramatic as we do.
Well, I mean, yeah, we make it that way because we feel it that way.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the rules of the Sleeping Dogs album are a little bit different than the rules of a regular rap album.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like you're supposed to have like a big banger to open, and Nina is a very warm, kind of close song.
Yeah.
Um, it's a really pretty way to open. And there's we've talked to a lot of guests who are like, all these juxtapositional sounds to really, set off the difference and surprise the listeners. This is so cohesive going track to track. When I first heard it, it was hard to break up specific favorite songs because it was so everything was so together.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, that first Forge song run, like I feel like it's like one song.
Yeah. Very much like melts into each other.
Yeah.
I came up with a name for that, Andrew, at the listening party. I don't know if you heard that.
I was there the whole time. Bandcamp literally did not want me to sign in. I literally ended up having to make a brand new account just to get on it.
Crazy.
It would not let me sign into the chat, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like
What
it
it,
took me. Yeah,
what
it
did
was
you call it,
so.
Dan?
Oh, the Hotel California run.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I,
I do remember that.
Can't leave. You can't leave now. The
Yeah.
hooks are too good. You can't leave.
you can.
Yeah. After the
I,
first four, it's so catchy, it's so hypnotic. You're there, you know. Um, yeah. It's the man, what a homeboy Sandman verse.
oh
Yeah,
yeah. He just slaughtered it. And
he killed
like
it for sure.
I remember somebody saying right off the bat, it might have been a friend of mine, that like they really appreciated how he essentially whether it was conscious or not, like fit right in and adapted kind of to our style. But there's certain elements I think we all have in common, but he gave us a very like Sleeping Dogs verse. It
Yeah.
just really worked and it was just funny and witty and effortless and I was just very appreciative of that. And
Yeah, he fit on that song very well. Like it's because it's like sometimes you hear people with like features on certain things, and it's like a rapper you really like or something, but they just don't seem like they belong on that certain thing. They feel out of place. Whereas like this just didn't skip a beat. It was just all melded together. It was really, really good. Came out amazing.
He fits. Do you know why he fits so well? It's because the whole conversation around Homeboy Sandman early on, certainly in my friend group, was what the fuck is this person? This person isn't really conscious. They're not really hardcore. It's not even everyman raps. It's too weird to be everyman raps. Like this,
Yeah.
where does this person fit? And over time, he kind of carved where he fit, you know,
Hmm.
and created his own rules for what was normal for him. And so on in the Sleeping Dogs universe, which functions differently than the hip hop universe, he sounds really free and happy to be here. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
the most Sandman moment is get your mindset straight. If it tells time, then a
The
watch ain't
watch ain't
fake.
fake.
He hits you with that pause and he over enunciates the end of it to make sure you heard his ass. Like
Hmm.
Sandman, that's
Yeah, it
what.
just sounds like he had fun, which is like, what more
Yep.
can you ask for? You know what I mean? That's the best part of that verse, is it really like when he goes like, "Boy, Sand, here to ask the hard-hitting questions." You know what I mean? And Drew and I have a bit of that in our flow too. Who knows, where that started really coming out, but that kind of like da 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 da. And Sandman does that a lot too. And um yeah, just when it comes down to it, we were most happy we got it back and we were just grateful to have him at all. But to feel like he enjoyed making it and he exceeded his job. He didn't have to do anything crazy for us,
Right.
but
And he maximizes that flow with like just interesting word choice, like eggs met hollandaise, and you're like,
yeah.
it's awesome. I get to hear homeboy Sandman say hollandaise. This is awesome.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it sounded like it sounds like it was just really easy for him. It doesn't sound like he had to try. Like it just sounded really natural. Like I feel like he sat there and wrote that verse in 10 minutes.
yep,
Yeah.
yep,
It was like it just came out of him. And
Yeah.
it's a great verse, but it does not feel forced in the slightest. It's
And that's
just
kind of what that song called for too, you
yep.
know?
100%. Yeah, he definitely like um he understood the mission there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a world that made sense for him. So he fit perfectly into it. But yeah. Did you have any high points, Kay? Do you have any favorite songs? Any thoughts?
I really liked Nina.
Mm,
I think what it is because just the embodiment, like it's very interesting song structures to me. Like the chord progressions, like they remind me like it's very surprising. Like you would think that you think the song's going in one direction and then there's like a surprise in it.
Mm.
And that's kind of how I felt about Nina. I really enjoyed it. It it was just an interesting song structure.
Mm.
I liked that song. I liked Peace of Mind, and then I think my favorite song was probably Lemonade Spliff.
yeah,
Mm.
that was my first favorite too. Yep,
Mm.
yep, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very
That's
happy to hear that people have been liking that because we were almost silly enough to be like, maybe we should
Hold it.
hold it or do something else with it or maybe not use it. But the Drew just did some really crazy things with production on this album. Um, and like one of my personal favorites is Snow Game. And just like these are just beats, I dream of being sent. You hear them and you're like,
yeah.
how did you think to pick that?
Yes.
Even with Nina too, it's just like, where is that coming from? The horns, even the structure of it, like you can't really tell,
right.
what the flow is going to be on it. Um, just Drew picks stuff and I hear it and I'm like, I would have never grabbed that out of a bin, but then you were like, this is perfect because this nobody else is producing stuff that sounds like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when people say like, "Oh, this sounds like it's a live band," like this sounds like his instrument,
Yeah.
right? I think the reason for that is that when we think of sampling, we think of chunks of music put
Hmm.
places, right? Whereas when you're hearing an instrument ring off and reverberate, you're like, this has got to be something else, right? Like, it can't
Yeah.
be a sample
Yeah.
still.
And shout out to C Money for that too, with his
Yeah.
mastering
Yeah.
process. He adds a ton of depth to the production too.
C Money is like the unofficial third. He's like the fifth Beatle. You know what I mean? He's like
Yeah.
the third
Hmm.
Sleeping Dogs member. Like it's not a Sleeping Dogs album without C Money
Yeah.
putting his putting his painting his brush on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight up.
And in the same way, he understands the mission, right? He understands the assignment. He knows where to take risks for us. He knows where to add in some, like even on Nina, he threw in something that I hadn't even heard till the album.
Yeah.
With that extra kind of drum on the chorus,
Yeah.
and it's just perfect filler enough to kind of keep
Brings it
your.
somewhere else though. Takes it makes it different than the verse. And
Hmm.
he knows that like we trust him to do, I tell him that I know I drive him fucking absolutely crazy. I probably am the worst person to work. I think C Money probably hates working with me, unfortunately. And I don't blame him because I'm a fucking pain in the ass, but at the same time, he does know what I want and he comes back and they're pretty much there. And then it's always just the little nitpicky things that I have. But you know what? He gets it to exactly where we want it to be. And it's only because I have a vision and I know he has a vision too. So he understands why I'm a pain in the ass, but I still am at the end of the day.
It's that same thing, like a coach and a player or two players, like pushing each other a little bit. Like, man, if we can just get it to this, if you try this, then
Yeah.
it'll be really good in the product. Like, then you win the game, or then you win a championship. You
Right.
know what I mean? So in the middle of it, you're like, yeah, man, this guy's getting on my last nerve, but it's what it's gonna take to get to that end goal. You know what I mean? We could say, whatever, that's good enough.
Yeah.
But none of us would be as happy as we could potentially be if we pushed a little and tried to really grind it down to exactly what we wanted or as close as possible.
And that's what makes it the Sleeping Dogs album. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's what all these little things, these attention to detail, all this stuff makes it what it is too.
Yeah, you remember you see like sometimes like I remember watching that Jordan documentary thing and thinking that his teammates sounded like abuse survivors.
Yeah.
You know, it sounded like
100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they had been like they were
Absolutely.
trying to reorganize this terrible relationship in their head.
Hmm.
Uh, but at the same point, like I always thought that Kobe was a terrible teammate. That was always a story about him. And then all these stories came out after he died about like, yeah, he was a dick, but ultimately I learned. I learned when we won what he was talking about. I learned, like
I got
he
better
had
and
a
we
person
won.
on the back end. So
Yeah.
like a hard balance.
Hmm.
Um,
Versus like a vet coming in who's like, I already got my money. I'm gonna go out there and ball out. You guys figure it out. And then there's no, cohesion. There's
right.
no purpose of getting better.
Yeah. And
You
it's not
know.
like being a dick to be a dick. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I said, it's like, yeah, he's a dick or yeah, but it's like because he wants the most out of you.
Mm,
He probably wouldn't be a dick and wouldn't push you if there was nothing there to get.
exactly. And Drew and I have the same relationship. And Dick is not the right word, even though we're all using it. Because Drew's a extremely kind and sweet person and rarely ever has any sort of temperament. Um, but he does the same with me. It's the reason you got to have one of those guys, right? And I'm kind of the scatterbrain member of the crew, and Drew will be like, "Hey, man, let's try to get that done by Thursday." And be like, "All right, all right, all right." Thursday, I'll just avoid texting him all day, and then it's Sunday, and he's like, "Hey, man, any progress?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 I got you." Another couple days go by, and he'll send that third text, and he'll be like, "Oh shit, okay, I really got to get home and get this done tonight." That way, I can stop avoiding him, and we can just go back to texting regularly.
Yeah.
Um, but if not, I might, wait a few months and say, you know. So I need that personally. I need a little bit of a push, a little bit of somebody to say, get this done because it's going to be worth it and you're going to be happy that you did get it done.
Yep.
Um, and if Drew didn't do that with me, then, maybe we'd only have one album out, or maybe we'd be working on the second. But because of his drive and his vision of, if we get this done, it's going to feel good, it's going to sound good, we're going to keep this thing going. That's how we've gotten to three at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and one of my heroes is Combat Jack, right? So I listen to Combat Jack podcast a lot. There was this great moment interviewing Juvenile when he was talking about the sequencing of 400 Degrees and how did you put the songs in the right order. And Juvenile said, look, man, we were just locked in making shitloads of music. We took all the music we had at that time, put it together, put it on the album, sent it out. That's what we had. And I kept thinking, man, I wonder if Sleeping Dogs is like this, just in the sense that Andrew's making so much music. Um, I wonder if there is a little bit of that. We're always rolling, and we'll just bundle it, where we
Hmm.
need to.
I don't know.
No, I mean it's definitely more. We have like a more like, all right, this is like the things we're working on. I mean, we definitely do. I think maybe in the beginning it was kind of like, all right, here's a pot of music that we have,
Hmm.
and we picked like, all right, what are we gonna do for the record? And then it kind of was even like that. I mean, it has been like that though, kind of, because like then because we never stopped. So once Sleeping Dogs like became a thing, once we realized like, which was pretty much immediately,
Hmm.
we started working on one song, and then we're like, all right, cool, we're just like making a group, and
Hmm.
then so it was always like the vision to start a group, not just make an album together. But since we made that first song, we just never stopped making songs. Like it was never like, all right, well, let's work on this album, and then it was like, all right, it's time to work on album two. Yeah, we kind of just kept working,
Hmm.
and then we'd be like, all right, cool, we do have this pot of songs, and then yeah. So I mean, it is sort of like that.
It is a little bit like that. Like even this album, we had, a lot to choose from.
It
And we
sounds
had
like
to
the
refine
acoustic
it.
version, though. It sounds like you guys will sit in front of a bunch of music you made and be like, okay, we have this. What is it?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then try and figure it out, add to what's missing or whatever. Like,
Hmm.
was there a song specifically that was like, okay, this is the heart of Dogstoevsky. This is like where this will grow from.
Mm. Probably Nina.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least one of them.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Nina and Ballin' at Last.
Yeah,
Um,
those are two early ones for sure.
and that's kind of like was the sound we were gonna try to go through from. That was like those were definites. And then we just had to keep making definites. You know what I mean? And every song you make here is the intention is to make a definite. But we'll make a big pool. We're not just like let's make 12 songs and here they are. Like we'll make 20 and then get it down to 17 and then to 15 and and go through some heartbreaking cuts and say, well,
Yeah,
this fits better with this.
yeah,
That's where that cohesion with the sound is coming in because there is a thoughtful process of like, let's not just throw in all the ones that are the best and bash them together. Like let's really try to make this have a wave to it. And you can feel that towards the end of the album when we get into like Mazzy Star, Selfish, and To Call You Back to Earth. We're going from this right in the high in the beginning and then ending it kind of like a little wistful and a little longing, a little
yeah.
darker. Um, so it's intentional, but we do have always, like we said, we're always trying to make something.
Yep.
We're always like, just collectively, I don't think we're capable of just not making songs together. So
Mhm.
it's not like say like, oh, let's start working on this, but like we're always working on something, because it's like obviously there's these three albums, but then there's like Not Fade Away, then there's like we're always working on something together, and then sometimes it's like, oh, well, this kind of makes sense with what you're doing for, you know, Not Fade Away, or like whatever I'm producing for you. So why don't you run with this, and maybe I'll do a feature on it, or whatever.
Hmm.
And then vice versa with like, you know, uh, what's it called? The album that, Jesse produced for me would be like, all right, this makes more sense there. So
Mhm.
we're
Yeah.
always working on music together, and where it lands, you know, I feel like the pile of songs dictates that itself sometimes.
Yeah. That makes sense. The oh, yeah. We'll talk my favorite run on this K.
Mm.
I gotta go bullet by bullet here. It is 9, 10, 11. Mazzy Star, Save the Whales, Selfish.
Mm, cool.
Uh Mazzy Star, first when I was listening to this, like I got in contact with Ennals, it was like, you have such a special relationship with Drew. Like there's just something there that's very special.
Mm,
It's a whole different chamber for you, and you should make sure to explore it. Just don't take that
yeah,
for granted. You know what I mean?
it's very
And
evident.
yeah, and Ennals knows. Ennals a smart cat. He knows. So, but he gets to do something totally different with you guys than he does with Knives or
Mm,
with whatever. So that's really valuable, and his hook is just beautiful. Um, that Mazzy Star is an incredible song. Save the Whales is one of those Andrew hooks that fucks me up.
mm.
It's like a fucking math equation I'm still redoing on the board. I'm like, whales, but it sounds like well, and he's talking to well, and he's talking to whale, and you sell
Yeah.
water. What do you? It's so much happening,
It's crazy.
but it's
I don't,
catchy as fuck. It's catchy,
yeah.
So like, but the third time you listen, you're like, wow, but there's all these implications here. It's like it's so complex and simple at the same time.
Mm.
It's magic to me, and it's also kind of it's a somber song, you know.
Yeah,
Very much.
very much so. It feels like very rainy day song, cold rainy day.
Yeah, it's a stark song, and then Selfish brings kind of drums back, and it bangs. I really like that against Save the Whales.
Mm,
Um, it has good energy. So I love that three song bundle there.
awesome.
Kay, what do you got? Your favorite three? Or
My favorite run. I really liked. I mean, I like Nina, but I really like the latter, Peace of Mind, and then Funk Dancing for Self Defense. I thought that was really strong run and was really a showcase of the versatility.
Yeah,
yeah,
I really love low keys. Folk dancing for self defense is definitely one of my favorites on that. I just like, I don't know. It's definitely I kind of like wanted to place it as theirs, kind of like you get that run in the beginning,
Mm.
um, of like you just like those songs melt together, like Nina, Ballin' at Last.
yep.
What is uh
Peace of
uh
mind. Is peace of mind after that?
no,
No,
it's
it's Snoopy and Woodstock.
Snoopy and
Snoopy and
Woodstock.
Woodstock.
it's
Yeah.
not.
Then the
I'm
last.
thinking of like I'm thinking of the titles before we actually titled them.
Yep,
But yeah, Nina, Ballin' at Last, Snoopy and Woodstock, The Ladder,
yep.
Peace of Mind, and then you kind of like get to Funk Dancing for Self Defense. It's kind of like an interlude almost, and you kind of like, all right, and then you jump back in with Snow Game. It kind of like restarts it almost. But
Mm.
yeah, Funk Dancing for Self Defense was like one that we both really loved, and like was I was hoping that that found a home on the record because it's definitely like one of my favorites for sure.
It felt sonically minimal, but like
Hmm.
very bar heavy. It was really dope. It was really dope to strip it down a little bit. Uh,
Yeah. It's
I
like a
just
mellow,
love that hook too. It's so silly
yeah.
and Drew and like, see what we
yeah.
doing, Dad? Like,
Well, that's why I really like that song because it's like such a mellow flip, like it's just like a simple piano flip, like nothing crazy. But then the hook is like almost like hype where
Right.
you don't
yeah,
expect it because it's just some piano shit and then it's just bars. So I like the that kind of like balance of it's just kind of fun to do shit like
yeah.
that. Like, not exactly like this, but one that I think of that always makes me want to do like fun bar shit on like pianos is like Cameron, He Tried to Play Me
Yeah.
with him and Hellrell. Like it's just like fun and funny, and you just don't expect like bar shit on like just a strip piano.
Yep. No,
I think that's very Sleeping Dogs. That like funk dancing for self-defense is like if you had to show an alien what does Sleeping Dogs sound like, that might be one of the picks.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, a simple hook that was effective. Like
Mm.
I put in my notes. Um, yeah. And there's and Funk Dancing for Self-Defense is my second favorite lyrical song for both of you. My first is Snoopy and Woodstock.
Mm.
That is the one with the money pit line that I quoted
Yeah,
earlier.
I
Uh,
do love that verse.
but it also has, and this is my pitch here, like this should be a t-shirt. May I leave this world tender and true, scribble sonnets on the rooftops, Snoopy and Woodstock. That's
So good.
the most
Mm.
Jesse the Tree shit ever. Um,
It, that's like again like an alien. Like how would you describe it's like that 2 bars is like so
yeah,
Jesse to a T.
that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would
And
be
another fucking wild ass beat, like
yeah, dude.
ba-dum-dum-dum-dum. It's like 70s game show,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
I fucking love that beat. I think that's got my favorite line though on that by me. My favorite bar just Drew make the whole room move. I'm Jamiroquai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That
that's
was
my probably my favorite like little puncher on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that like a punchy tuba on that thing? Like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Da, 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 da. It's like, yeah, it's like marching band
Yeah.
game show.
I just thought it was so sick though. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, definitely got to fucking do something with this.
Yep. Yep. No, there's a sense that like the sonics will be opulent and pleasing, but like the content is going to deal with like tough stuff,
Hmm.
mentally that you're going through, how you feel about yourself. Sometimes it's just like, man, I remember the line where you're talking about, have you ever watched the rain fill up an empty cup? You know,
Mm.
um, like sometimes it's just, being a part of your environment and connecting you to your natural environment. I
Mm.
think that's why people are connecting so hard. I think there's some part that listening to Sleeping Dogs is therapy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, it is for the two of us. It is for Drew and I.
Making it.
Um, Making it is. And I think, it's as simple as truly using the song to get through the day. Um, and then both of us doing it. I can't wait to hear what Drew said that he had to do to get through his day. We can't talk all day, so I'm getting a snapshot into some things going on with Drew during his week. He's getting a snapshot of some of my things, like so much of it, my writing, and I think Drew's too. And I think maybe that's one of the best part of Drew's writing is that as soon as you come into the verse, and being Drew's friend, I imagine him in his car and kind of with his big ass coffee and smoking a cig with the window down, getting to work a couple minutes late, trying to get everything together and like having that constant sweat during the day. Um, it's just that's a fun part of it. And I love just saying like what did Drew and the more I go back and listen, that's what's so fun with listening to Drew too, is like I always catch things later. And not like these like, whoa, that went over my head. Just like the way he said something so simply. Um, I'm always just like blown away by the little things.
Yeah, I mean, probably die with a cigarette hanging from my lips. Tried to quit time and time again. It never seems to stick. Um,
Yeah. Or like the I thought I had a drinking problem, but drinking had a problem with me. You know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
Love
yeah,
that line.
yeah. And I was thinking about it because I've done shit like that where you're like just excavating yourself. And when you read it, people think it's sad, but you're like,
Yeah.
no, I'm glad that it's out of me on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I feel better, a
Hmm.
little better.
That's the whole point. It's like, the dark things that, are said or whatever, it's really just like you need to say those to get them out. It's like I'm not trying to be like even dramatic or like, writing sad shit. It's just like that's like exactly you're excavating all this shit. Is a good word
Yeah.
for it. It's just kind of like how you get it out, how you deal with it, how you make sense of it, kind of. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because to me, when I just keep things in my head, they get there's so much there that it just like everything is so just kind of like muddled that I need to like say it out loud for it to make sense and for to like process it. So
Mhm.
that's all that is really,
I mean,
Yeah. It never feels like we're writing intentionally sad shit.
no,
Sometimes I'm surprised when somebody's like, "Oh my God, that song's really sad," because it never felt sad writing it.
yeah,
The actual writing wasn't sad. Maybe what I was feeling was, it's just, what you're feeling in the moment. And but a lot of it feels fun to me.
Yeah.
A lot of the
the other thing is if you're in a safe place, like you can say sad stuff and not feel like you're sad or you're in a sad space
yeah. Hmm.
because you're comfortable, right? And that's part of the sleeping dogs thing.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, it doesn't come off as sad to me. It comes off as very like matter of fact type
Hmm.
of thing. Like, this is just like a slice of our life,
Hmm.
for
This is
better
how it is.
for better or worse, right? Not sad
100%.
or happy. It's just better or worse. This is what it is right now.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
real life, you know what I mean? Because it's like that's just what it is. Some days it's that, some days it's something else, That's
Right.
yeah, absolutely. Definitely matter of fact.
If you do it the right way, okay, the root, the evil thought, right? The nasty thought, the root system of it is your head. That's what feeds it.
Mm.
Think of it like a tree, right?
Hmm.
When you put it on the in the work, write a short story, write a play, write a song, you have cut the tree down, right?
Hmm.
The root system is no longer connected, right? You put it over there.
Yeah.
And so you get it out of your head so it doesn't get fed anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, like exactly. Cutting the weeds out and making sure that you get them low enough under the dirt that they don't just come back in a week,
Right.
Mm.
or mutate,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So I wrote that and I was like, I hope this stuff made it feel better. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like some of that, writing about how just not wanting to go outside today and shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
I hope that was good to put out there and not just
Save the Whales felt
yeah.
maybe one of our most cathartic songs. That one felt like a exorcism of the self.
Yeah.
That one was like I could hear myself within my verse, like almost voice cracking, like really pushing that out. And not even to the point I wasn't really too concerned even what I was writing. I was like, I just have to keep following this feeling in this verse. And it's kind of repetitive in some ways, but I think it almost makes it sound a little manic on my end. But it's like angry and pressured and solemn all in one.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of my favorite verses of yours, probably top two on that record. That like it's just so entrancing. And it just I I I remember just making that beat and just hearing that and being like, oh wow, like I felt like I really felt something, and then I remember just sending it to you, and then like what you did on it was exactly it kind of like just I feel like it connected with you as much as it did with me and just kind of like brought it right to there, which is it kind of I don't know, that beat just invokes something. It's
It's
definitely I think that's probably one of my favorites on my favorite beats on that album as
it's
well.
it's one of the key points of it, I think. Um and so to me, and I wanted to, there's an interesting divergence of energy depend when Andrew opens, right? Jesse, finds a way to impact after when so that it's different when Andrew opens, Jesse comes later. Um, I noticed on Call You Back to Earth, Jesse comes first, says crazy poetic shit, jar of feelings tied around the wrist drifting
It's
upstream.
that whole verse is just like some of the best. Honestly, like that whole verse of his is some of just the best writing, not from him, just in general. I think like the poetic devices and just
Nope.
the poetry of that song is just fucking crazy. The like, it's so cinematic. The things that he says in it, it's just really wild. It's just such a great verse, and that beat too. It's really perfect. I mean, and that's a Jesse beat as well. So it was like, I remember when he sent me that, I was like, holy fucking shit. I don't really know. I don't even know where, how I can
Right.
even, how I can come with anything after that. It was just such an incredible, I was like really in a trance because I was just literally watching all these things happen in my head that he was saying as he was saying them.
And I think, you can hear from someone coming from a natural space and someone being like, shit, now I got to work. Like, and
Yeah.
your verse that follows Jesse's is you
Oh,
go
it's so good.
hard. This album ends with you apologizing to your friends for not seeing them enough. Partially because you've been busy, but also partially because you're afraid of the world. Like, that's that's hard. And so you definitely raised to the level. It's just interesting how the differences between who opens and how that affects what happens. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny though. It's funny like that. Yeah, it's great though because like there's always that's what I think. I think us working together is just such a great partnership in a way where there's always like not even a rivalry, but like we just get so amped from the other person
Mhm.
of what they do that it's like, wow, they really just like brought this there. Like I gotta bring this there because like not because I gotta be better, but like because that was so sick and I wanna like I wanna, I need to honor this by, I can't be like putting some half-ass shit on that
Yeah.
amazing like so
I
we
see it as I can't let you down. You know what I mean? If you come in on the song and you absolutely kill the verse, I'm like, all right, I can't let you down. You know what I mean? I
super
have to
saying that because
put
I
in the
could not find that word.
yeah,
yep.
that's what it is. It's and that's what better competition is that to make a perfect song is to say, I'm not going to let my friend down on this song.
Mhm.
He poured his he worked very hard on this verse. This beat is beautiful. This has the potential to be a great song. I got to make sure that it stays that way. I got to bring it home. Um,
Right.
and that's like one of the coolest things about making collaborative hip hop, about being in a group, is it's that both of us have to bring that song home. Um, and both of us want it to be great, you know. So it takes pressure off because only you can split it in half, but it adds pressure because you have two people that you want to prove that to. You have two people you want to make proud. Um, so that pushes you to really, really focus on your writing. Whereas maybe you feel that a little bit less with a solo song. Um, so that's what really hones in the craft in terms of working in a group.
This group
Mm.
specifically.
Hmm.
Yep. It doesn't always happen like that. You know, like Capadonna's verse on ice cream. I could really do without it. Oh, great song. And then he jisms like a giant. And I'm like, oh, this, I don't know. Um, anyway,
Yeah,
but no, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Charlie Brown universe for a second. How beautifully consistent it's been with you because it's interesting. Like I've tried to show Charlie Brown stuff to my son, and it's the weirdest shit ever. Like he doesn't understand what the fuck is going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because kids programming now is very warm and nice and cute, right?
Hmm.
It's like,
And stimulating.
yeah, it's animated octopus teaching you how to count or whatever, you know?
Hmm.
But like for us, sorry, for me, I'm much older than everyone. But Charlie Brown was like the realest shit ever.
Mm.
Comic
100%.
strips, it was the realest shit. It was uncut. It was
Mm.
like kids walking around sad and alone.
Yeah. In a like a weird whimsical dog who was kind of human and felt
Yep.
things too. And what I like about it too in terms of like the art, like the drawing, the how it moves is like it's always like a little rough around the edges. Like Charlie Brown always looks like a little exhausted.
Yep, yep.
Um, it's weird. It's just like little humans figuring shit out and just stylistically and everything. We both, it wasn't one of us being like, hey, we should really lean into Charlie Brown. I think it was just both of us saw some parallels there with that in our music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I
But
mean, I really do think that there is because, like you said, Charlie Brown it's the realest shit. It's literally like it's not a sugar-coated kids cartoon. It's literally showing like people with, people being depressed and anxiety and then but then also like funny. There's a lot of dark humor going on in it, but it's just really real and it's really like everyday real life stuff. And that's why it was awesome because it was like actually showing all those real life feelings. Like you don't have to just feel happy all the time because this is actually real. So I feel like we are just kind of like the Peanuts version of like
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of.
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, it as a kid, I remember thinking that like all my friends wanted to be like Garfield, you know, that we wished we were like Garfield,
Yeah.
but we were Peanuts characters,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Um, and
Like
that's,
a little weird, a little like offbeat, um, getting fucked up by shit and just figuring things out. It always felt like they were trying to figure something out or make something work. And it didn't always come to fruition, but they tried.
yeah, I'm definitely Linus waiting for the Great Pumpkin. Like that's my,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but it's, yeah, no, but at the same point, it had a groove to it,
Mm.
right? Like,
Yeah, it was like a jazz. There was like a free
right.
jazz feeling to it.
Fitzgeraldi and the stuff there, but also
Mm.
like the characters kind of just moved with their own groove and energy.
Hmm.
So it did have movement. It did move, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It didn't have like a super happy groove all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was bopping, but it was still sad. There was still like rain clouds over everybody.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a groovy thing about being super depressed.
Yeah. I
It
think
was,
groovy is a really good way to put it. And that like the motion is like a persistence. Like Charlie Brown having a shit day, but still, all right, we gotta follow, we gotta see something through, you know.
right,
Yeah.
right. Not giving up. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, that was a
it's
good
him. It's him and trying to kick the football. That's
Exactly.
my favorite. Love that metaphor from. Yeah,
Hmm. Like
Seriously.
might as well keep trying.
yeah.
'Cause what
One
else
day,
is there to do?
right?
Yeah. And if it's I think it's hard. I don't know, it might not be something that people connect with in the here and now because I think this is like there's a lot of rise and grind mythology stuff that
Hmm.
goes on. There's people taking footage of their butt in the gym and people being like really like trying to brand themselves all the time.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
constant commodification. Like everything has to be something that's has a monetary value. And that's like in the Lemonade Spliff song, I end my verse like you can have the grinds, builds, and links. I just want to have peace, homie. All that shit stinks. That's a big part of our music too. Like we don't want this to feel like this constant marketing fucking ploy. We want to enjoy it, and if you enjoy it too, then fantastic. We're gonna keep doing it either way, you know.
I think if you ceaselessly build your personal brand, you get to run from all the heavy, weird, bad shit that you have building in you.
Yeah,
You can
absolutely.
just pour that into what you're doing, and be like, "We're great," and
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you guys definitely the journey is through yourselves, which is definitely different. You know,
Mhm.
there is stunting on this. There is definitely some good stunting and braggadocio, but even the braggadocio is different. You know what I mean? It's really fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I told my son the locked in like Missoula watching the town is just the best Celtics bar I've heard in a long time. Um,
That was a fun one, man.
yeah, man.
I knew it had to happen eventually. I got a few Celtics references on there. It's
Yep.
necessary.
I will say, by the way, Kay, you remember this when as a Sixers fan, right?
Gosh. Okay.
I told you way back when the playoffs started, was it 2019, and Kawhi was on the Raptors, and I was like, "There's only one person I fear, and it's Kawhi in the Raptors."
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
I did.
Hmm.
They were like the fifth seed. They were not the one seed. I was like, "That is the scariest shit, and I don't want to deal with it." I
Yeah.
felt like that with Jesse in our Call Out Culture Fantasy League.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Because in the draft, he picked after me, and I was like, "Oh, he did exactly what I would have done in that fucking situation."
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm proud to be in two fantasy basketball leagues and in the championship of both of them.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I think I'm taking down Ted Danson. I think
Yep,
there's a
he's had
good
a magical
chance.
season, but it's treason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been the giant. I'm like,
Yep.
I think I could beat
Yes.
him, but there's a good chance he could kick my ass.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff, but yeah, good times. The Sixers will be back with draft picks.
Yeah. Hmm.
We got a lot of dead weight to move.
Yeah.
The waiver wire on our fantasy league is all Sixers players, Andrew,
Yeah. Yeah. Doughton, Ricky Council,
because anybody can get playing time at this point.
Lonnie
Anybody,
Walker. Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
anyone could. It's real
anyone
shit.
could, bro. Anyone could. 10, 20 minutes.
It's open gym.
Yep. I remember it was my wife who first told me that I should check out Cooper Flag. She's like, "This kid from Maine, he's crazy good," and I'm like, "We'll see, dude. Like, Maine is a bit of a corny place. It's a bit of a
Mhm.
'70s children's show, of a place." So I was like,
Very not known for producing
"Yeah, we'll
generational
see, whatever."
athletes.
And the first clip I ever saw, I was like, "Oh shit, this is serious.
Yeah.
It's real." The composure this kid has. So I'm excited to see what.
He's the closest thing we've had to Bird since Bird.
Yeah. I hope
Mm.
the Sixers get him so
Ooh.
Morey can trade him for somebody that's very strange.
Yeah,
I think he would love to do
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, this Dogstoevsky's fantastic. Um, thank you for this. Do you guys the title is very interesting. What was the process of the title?
All Drew. Drew comes up with about 7,000 different album titles, and he's as good as coming up with album titles as he is as making hooks,
Yeah, that makes
which
sense.
is elite.
Yeah.
So he gives me a bunch to pick from, and I usually like them all. We had a bunch in the
This
barrel
was
for
actually
this. This was like just
this
kind of
was an
came up.
audible. This was a
This is
fucking
an
audible.
audible.
We had agreed on the title for this album since before we ever dance again, and then the last minute I was like, "Yo, Dogstoevsky." It was like, "Yep, done."
Yeah.
And yeah, so it really we had a hook, or sorry, we had a fucking name, and it was like, "Oh, this is so good." But then once that hit, it was like, Nah, has to be Dogstoevsky, which is
And it
also
matched with the album cover really well. It just
Yeah.
that felt like the right title.
I am yeah, shout out to Ella on this album cover because like all this all three album covers are great and she killed all of them, but this one is just next level. Like I just love this one so much.
Yeah, I want this one on a t-shirt so bad.
Why? So do I.
The yawning dog just owns it. It's just so
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
uh
fucking great.
Yeah. And she just gets it. She knows she's been making our album covers, my solos, a couple, one of Drew's solos.
Yeah.
She knows exactly what what we want to be evoked
Just the dogs.
artistically. So that really helped because you could tell a lot of people, hey, make us a big collage of dogs, and that could come out really cheesy if it wasn't done right.
Yeah.
But there's something so weird and good about this cover, like the colors and
Yeah,
everything. It's
colors
like,
are amazing. Like when you think of a bunch of dogs on a cover, you don't think that it would be colorful, but somehow this album cover is a bunch of dogs and it's colorful somehow anyway, which is
yeah,
amazing.
is you can't beat not just evolving as a group musically, but evolving with your cover artist. That's
yeah,
fucking dope, man.
yeah.
Because
Very
then
special.
it just feels like a full progression. Like, oh shit, okay,
Hmm.
this is we keep stepping up. So that's dope. Okay, do you have more questions?
No, no.
All right,
Kay's ready to get back to the beach.
I've been yearning. I've been yearning for this recommendation corner because I got, man, so much good stuff. But every day this week, to keep myself in the right state of mind, I've been listening to this Latin folk album, uh,
Ooh,
Cuban folk album. It's called Ritual. It's by Rita Dante,
ooh, let me write that down.
Donte. And I knew it was going to be my kind of thing from when the pre-order came up, so I was like, okay. And it came out. It's just fucking great. Uh, beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Nice. I'm
Um,
definitely gonna check that out.
I'm gonna go. There's another one. Shoddy from Miami, linked with the Lupara. Do you know what the Lupara is?
No.
The
No.
Lupara is a production collective with Mighty Healthy, Hobgoblin, Flu, Timepiece, like
Whoa.
these incredible minds. They're all the Lupara, right? And
No, I
so,
never heard of that. I didn't realize that.
yeah, I fuck well. And when Timepiece and Mighty Healthy started hanging out, I was like, you guys need to create something, a group together. Like you guys really balance each other really well. So the Lupara, I'm not saying I started the Lupara, guys, but it's, I saw it coming, and it's fantastic. And so Shadi got the Lupara um, to produce this album's called Pulp Nonfiction.
Oh, that's
So,
sick.
Ooh.
like
And
that's a Jesse thing right there almost. Oh, that's Jesse loves that word combination.
Yeah.
Shoddy is so good with crazy punchlines and just weird references. It's a really dope album, um, and he's got a very confident flow, which is great for Mighty Healthy, who loves to wreak havoc behind confident flows. Um, it's a perfect thing. So check it out. He's got Mighty Healthy has four production credits on that one. Um,
Nice.
yeah, no, it's great. The third one I would give is Glory by Perfume Genius. Uh,
Ooh.
beautiful, beautiful record. Honestly, Perfume Genius is in a Nikola Jokic type position where they might just be like, look, we gave you all the 8.9s we can give you.
Yeah.
This might fly under the radar or whatever, but um, it's it's a beautiful album by an artist who's like one of the best at making beautiful albums. So um, yeah,
I'm looking forward to checking that out.
yeah, Glory's great. Um, Andrew, what are you rocking with? What are you listening to? New or old?
Um, so there's a, I think I might have made you aware of him, or I don't know, you definitely have become more, but Q3, his new
Oh
album,
God.
new film. I co-produced the first song on that record, but that's not even a plug. Like the whole album is just really banging. I just love Q as he's a great producer, but I love him as a rapper. So I definitely that's been getting a lot of traffic for me lately.
I think it's his best. I think it's his best album.
It's so good. He really like came super hard on that record. Um, I also been listening to this like alt jazz record from this dude that I met over here. He's like a really, really fucking sick drummer, and he just put out a record. His group is called 6161, like the numbers, just literally 6161. And it's a self-titled record. It's 7 songs, and it's just really fucking cool. It's a super dope album, and it's all instrumental. So it's I've been running that up a lot as well. Um, and then yeah, I've been kind of tapping into my like early 90s kind of I don't even know what you would call it, but it's not like grunge really or anything, but it's this band called Far. This album's called Water and Solutions. I've been
Mm,
running that up a lot.
I think I've heard that.
It's such a good record, and like I've been listening to it forever, but it like it just comes back into my head every now and then when it does, I get lost in it. So I've definitely been running that shit up hard. And then also I've been listening to a lot of Destroyer uh, lately as
Love
well.
Destroyer.
Just Kaput is just like that's a record that like gets stuck in my once I start listening to it, it just gets stuck in my rotation for a little bit. So that's a couple of records I've been listening to a lot recently.
That's awesome. To the point about the 90s stuff, and me and my wife had a really interesting conversation where I was asking her not the best bands of the 90s, but the most unique bands of the 90s.
Mm,
Like we could when we heard Nirvana, we were like, "Oh, this is the Pixies." Like we had a framework for how they sounded. But bands like Rage, where we were like, "What is this?" You know? So we had a really good conversation about like, who would that be? Who would be in that mix? It was really cool.
And I
Yeah.
also got the early leak on. I got the early listen for the Brian and Infinity Knives. So I've been behind the scenes listening to that since I was lucky enough to get access.
oh yeah, just brilliant.
Fucking insane. It's just
Absolutely brilliant.
yeah, just no one else can do what they're doing and just they're just so they are so like solitary in just like they're on an island. They're just there's no one else that's even kind of yeah,
Could never,
it's just
yeah, it could never be replicated.
yeah,
It would only sound forced like
they're
that.
so singular. Like they're just so unique and so both so talented and like just intriguing and yeah, just like separately incredibly talented and intriguing, then you put them together and it's just like melt your brain.
Yeah, I mean, it was so they're going to be guests next week. Brian and
Oh,
host
awesome.
Infinity
Hell
Knives
yeah.
next week. And the way I would put it with Knives, which is so crazy. Knives is so crazy. Like those programs used to produce that'll break the song into two tracks and they'll have the big blue blocks, right? Um, and it'll go up and down with the sound changes and all that. Like you put a normal rap song into it, the two tracks line up, the blocks are blocks, right?
Hmm.
You put an Infinity Knives song on there, it's they're swimming in different ways in different directions. It's
Yeah.
like ups and downs. Like it's it's real compositions in
He's a
that.
Yeah,
composer.
exactly. He's a
He's a
composer for
composer.
sure.
Yeah, he's not a producer. He's a fucking composer. The dude is
Yeah.
like
Right.
he was saying on the internet this week, like about how like obviously he does this, but the dude is like he's a fucking composer. He can make so much shit. It's not he's not limited to this by any means.
Yep.
There's a
And
whole nother.
it comes through in his production. It's like you're not just gonna get something that you're gonna get something on almost every track that you're like, I've never heard anything like this before.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
He's like, I'm
All the
not
little
interested.
interludes that he does are just so fucking cool.
Hmm.
You can tell when someone isn't even interested in sounding like other people. Like
Yep.
he's not even interested in sounding like the people you would think of. Like
Hmm.
he's in an whole other world. Um, Jesse, what do you do? What are you listening to? Do we get your recommendation?
No, well, in the past few days, rest in peace, Michael Hurley was one of my favorite songwriters ever. I like old outsider folk, Greenwich Village, weirdo, beautiful,
Up to his
funny.
covers that he drew
Oh,
himself.
yeah. He drew all his own covers. Really great painter. Was always around in New England. I'm very sad I didn't never got the chance to see him, but all of his work is very inspirational to me. Just super
Any
simple,
specific
weird
album
writing.
you'd recommend?
There's one called Ida Con Snock, which who the hell knows what it means. It's got penguins on it, I think. But he's just fantastic. It's just really cool writer, really beautiful voice, simple, weird, just like the definition of outsider folk. Been listening to Palookaville a lot by Serengeti. He's been a massive inspiration for me for a long time now, and it just making a lot more sense to me the older I get, how incredibly talented he is and um,
Unique.
unique, and how he talks about sneakers and clothes and has all these characters, and it's just so fly. It's that weird fly stuff that it's just
Mhm.
really connect with and love. Um, and then who's the other one I was been listening to a lot of the Meat Puppets. I love the Meat Puppets. If we're going into that 90s
Those
grungy
songs are
weirdo
so
shit,
good.
so good. I love the Meat
Good.
Puppets. So I've been listening to them a lot again. And of course, Prem's album, which is just a masterpiece. There's so many songs I keep going back to on that Prem album, whether I'm just driving or going to the gym or sitting at work. Um, he's got that uniquely comforting, literary, and I just like listening to Prem. I
And
always
I
will.
think I was telling somebody this week that like I think you're tracking to be to carry the torch of the
Mm.
Prems. You're going to be in that lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the way that you guys both write is different, but it's also has a lot of similarities. Like he's so literary and kind of cinematic in the way he writes, where it's very visual, just like you are. Where you
Mm.
guys definitely differ, but like there's you guys have hints of each other, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely, yeah. And it's phenomenal album. That song Receipts with Woods is just
you're
fucked
not on
up.
Controller 7 on that one.
What's that? And
Controller
that was
7.
Controller 7
Controller 7
on that beat, which just like a crushing, absolutely crushing song. And he really killed it. And I'm so happy for him. And there's nothing better than listening to your friends who also happen to be unbelievable artists.
Right.
That's one of the coolest feelings in the world, like listening to Drew, listening to Prem, listening to anybody
Mhm.
in our scene that we're fortunate enough to be close with, listening to Brian and Infinity Knives. Like
Mhm.
you're like, these guys, you've sat down with them, you've had food with them, had a beer, hung out for too late into the night, and there's a whole different level of appreciation because
And
and you know how hard it is. You know how hard it is to put a fucking album out. It's not
seriously.
easy.
One thing I would wanted to mention before I forgot about Dogstoevsky is the sick thing about too is Brian on that hook is that we recorded it together. Like he was at my house.
Mm.
We did that person together. So that wasn't like a hey Brian, can you do this? It was like in the moment, like me and Brian being together and him doing that right there for the record.
And we weren't going to put that song on the record until we got Brian on it.
Yeah, because like I was like, the song needs Brian, and then I had him do the hook on it, and it was like, yeah, fucking yes.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Brian made that Brian put a heart into that song. He made it come alive.
And
currently my favorite right now. Currently my
yeah,
favorite.
and he's another person, just in our corner, and has been, and somebody we can show our music to before we put it out, and he believes in us, and
Yep.
has given us a ton of encouragement and sees what we're doing,
Yep.
because like he is a brilliant dude and an
Yes.
incredible musician. So when he tells you something, you believe him too, and he's pushed us both to believe in ourselves more.
And shout out to you, Jesse the Tree. The song Crueler Walls wouldn't have happened without you. We found out from Prem that you were on tour with him, went in a bookstore, and you pointed him towards Ocean Vuong.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, on Earth we're briefly gorgeous, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
That was
We've
cool.
given each other some good book and good film recommendations. Keep each other in the loop with that.
Very
And
cool.
that's where you find shit to talk about too. If real life isn't enough, you got to watch other people's lives.
I don't know if this will come through with the digital background. I got a present today that was pretty fucking nuts. It's my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, Dan.
Yeah. Your
2 days.
your birthday was Thursday. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is a
wow.
phone case artistically rendered of the song Above the Clouds.
Oh my God, that's the coolest shit ever.
That's amazing.
I love that. Where did you
Yeah.
get that?
Is this dude who does like shirts and phone cases for all just this kind of like specific like songs. And I just
That's
thought
really
it was
cool.
fucking really cool. So I put it on my wish list and I got it, man.
That's awesome.
I gotta find the link for that. It was, yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, if you find it, text it to me.
I will. Um, Thank you everybody for being so good and kind to us. And the there's an importance to what you guys are doing. Uh, I know people who individually as well as collectively see you two as North Stars that they can head towards.
That's awesome.
They feel like, okay, he did it, so I can do it. You know?
Yeah. What's better than that?
Yeah. So that's really important.
Gotta lead the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'll leave you with a Luther Vandross story, Kay.
Okay.
I watched the Luther documentary. He got nominated 9 times for a Grammy and lost in a row, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it was Stevie, you can't help it. Sometimes it was Terrence Trent D'Arby, and it was like, come on, man. But the 10th time he won, the 10th year he won, and the next day he goes to work with his people, the dancers, the people in the band, and he says, "You will refer to me as Luther Grammy winning Vandross."
Beautiful.
And they laugh, and he says, "Nope," for the rest of the day. And so for that one day, he had to refer to him as Luther
Yeah.
Grammy winning Vandross.
That's why you keep kicking the football.
Yep.
Yep.
I
You'll
love
get it
it.
one day.
Yeah.
I love that he didn't do it from then on, you know? He just one. I'll give one day where I'm going to be a big, egotistical maniac, and then tomorrow I'm going to be normal again.
Worth it.
Respect.
Yep, that's control. So, watch Luther Vandross documentary on Max. Buy Sleeping Dogs merch.
What will tomorrow